Hey y'all, welcome back to Connector Academy. Today we're going to take a look at weather pack connectors. They look like this. You've probably seen them many times. They've been around since the 1970s. If you worked on GM products, you've definitely seen these. Well, people are still using them to this day. Let's get into it. One of the most interesting things about weather packed terminals is the 20 amps continuous max rating for all terminals. So wire gauge doesn't matter. It's all dependent on just the terminals. Now with that being said, the terminals that you're using do absolutely matter what wire gauge. And each size terminal is specific to a wire gauge, but that does not change the fact that they're only capable of 20 amps. The naming convention for the connector halves, one being named Shroud and the other side being named Tower, is a little unconventional, but once you get used to it, it's not a big deal. The Tower and Shroud fit together with a nice reassuring click. And they also come apart very easily. There's one nice feature about these connectors. These connectors come in many positions. This is just a small sample of what's available. The next thing I see people doing wrong with these connectors very often is the wire seal sizing. So these are theoretically sized as starting on the left 12 gauge, 14 to 16 gauge, 18 to 20 gauge, 22, 24 gauge type of thing, and that's a cavity plug for blocking a hole that's unused. Now one way you can do this is of course use digital calipers and find out the insulation diameter right away and fit the wire seal by whatever the diameter of the wire actually is. But there's a far simpler method. Just take whatever wire you're using, put one of the seals on. Notice this one is far too loose, just easily slides back and forth. We'll try this purple one. Look how it fits nice and snug. I'm using the same amount of pressure here, but you can notice it cannot slide by itself. And here we have an even smaller one. Even tighter than the purple one. So in this use case, the purple or the small green one is the one to use. Let's talk crimping. This is the second thing that goes wrong a lot. The actual crimpers made by GM for these connectors are actually quite expensive. You need two different ones. One's like $200, the other one's like $300. But what I've found through a little trial and error on your behalf is that these crimpers made by iCrimp are actually quite good. What you can see is how the terminal is loaded. There's a stopping piece on the back side that keeps it from twisting around and from changing depth while you're trying to crimp it. It's a little hard to get a good shot of it on camera, but this does a really good job. The back stopping piece shown here is adjustable as well. Let's get a wire stripped and see what it's supposed to look like without the seal involved. Here you can see the 3 teeth that'll grab the conductor. And in the back you can see the large teeth that will grab the seal. And with the seal now on the wire, you can see how this comes together. Here I'm going to try to get you a really clear view of the terminal in the crimper without the seal yet. So this is partially inserted. Now here we're going to push it all the way in. Now you notice the 3 small teeth are lined up with the inner half. And you'll notice that the large teeth are lined up with the outer half. This is exactly where you want to be. Now we'll add the wire and the seal and crimp it. As you can tell, this crimper's done a phenomenal job at this. For the price point, you probably cannot get a better crimp. Now just for fun, let's try to crimp one with the wrong style crimper. Look at what it's done to that seal, and it's missed that ear completely. Obviously this is garbage. In comparison to our good crimp on the left, there's no doubt that using the proper crimper definitely makes a big difference. I'm going to show you something interesting that we can do with TXL wire and this crimper specifically. This is a piece of 12 gauge TXL. We've got the seal on there, we've got the terminal on there, and what we're going to do next is use the wrong crimping position on the crimper on purpose. So this crimping position would normally be used for the gray seal or the large green seal, but we're using the blue one. We're still using a 12 gauge terminal because it will still fit inside. But what happens with TXL, because the insulation is so thin, is we can actually get away with this. This is just one more reason why I always use TXL wire. There's often times where you get away with these types of things where you shouldn't be allowed to. On the shrouds are where the mounts actually go. A little hard to see because it's all black, but I'm pointing to the 2 rails there to slide onto the mounts. Unfortunately, I don't have a mount to show you, but it just slides into that slot there. The single position connectors do not have a place to be mounted, probably because the architecture didn't fit in such a small connector. These small keyways are to index the connectors, or to help index the connectors. But when you're buying sets, they usually all fit together, it's not a worry. But sometimes on actual GM cars, the reliefs are in different positions to keep certain connectors from plugging into other connectors. So sometimes you may have to actually add a notch if you can't find the proper connector. Let's go ahead and add a male terminal to a tower, which is actually wrong to do. The female terminals go in the towers, the male terminals go in the shrouds. But as you can see, it inserts and it won't pull out, but then you lock the TPA, or terminal position assurance, to keep it from possibly backing out. The TPAs are super easy to open, just a little screwdriver. Here's the proper assembly method. The female pins go in the tower. And you can see that it's shrouded and protected while it's inside that tower. And male terminals go in the shroud side. And you can see that they're recessed far down inside, so they can't touch anything when it's unplugged. Unpinning these connectors is super simple. Once the TPA is open, we take the depinning tool, you insert it and feel a small click, and then just pull the wire out of the back. This is probably one of the main benefits to these connectors. They're just dead simple. And here's a closer look at what that depinning tool is actually doing. It's just pushing down on those two tangs, and that allows the pin to slide out of the housing. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace!